Every day we are out in public, whether outside, at events, or in stores.
We work in retail ourselves, and we even have some friends of ours who want to share their fun, hectic, nightmarish, and even literal shitty stories.
We try to keep things anonymous for the safety of people's jobs, companies, and not to mention trying not to 100% discourage the people involved.
That's right. We don't want to make out customers to look like the worst people, because we even have stories with us as the customers.
My name is Austin.
And I'm Jeremy.
And welcome to the Retail Pit. Welcome, everybody, to the Retail Pit. I'm with Jeremy. We're doing a video today because we're going to do a little bit of a show and tell. We're going to talk about things of cool stuff that we got that was either marked down, and it's kind of the benefit of working in retail. And the other thing is and sometimes there are displays that go out in either center aisle or stuff for like Christmas time when you walk into the store, you see some really cool
promotional
displays.
item type stuff.
Yeah. Like I know a lot of beer companies do. I think the beer companies are the ones that probably have the most.
They do a lot. I've seen fireplaces from them, like functional electric fireplaces.
Yeah.
Those are pretty cool.
Jameson always has their barrel. They always have like the Jameson barrel.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
And I know one year there was a Corona bobblehead that was really cool.
I must have missed that.
Oh
one. That
yeah,
sounds
that's
good.
cool. They're always cool, but we'll talk about that later.
Yeah, we get carried away.
Yeah, we're gonna start this off before we get into the main entree. We're gonna start this off with a little appetizer. We're gonna do some retails of our own. We like to start things off with a little retail because you're descending down into the pit.
That's right.
So we might as well get things started with a little story. Jeremy, I believe you had one that involved a fun customer.
Yeah. Just happened to be working in a store one day, and I noticed that this lady is clearing out my shelf of soda.
Oh, yeah.
Specifically, 8-packs and 12-packs. So I didn't think anything of it,
Right.
you know. I
like,
mean,
like the bottles, right?
yeah, and cans, 12-pack cans.
Oh, and
too.
the cans.
Yeah, it was both.
Oh man.
Like she wasn't discriminating.
Right. I'm getting all ya.
So, I didn't think anything of it. We had a good sale. People load up on that stuff all the time.
Yeah.
It wasn't until maybe 10 minutes later, I'm going into the back room, taking care of my cart. Well, I have to walk through the bottle room in order to get back to the back room. And I see the lady. And I'm thinking, that's kind of weird. She didn't have any returns in her cart when I saw her a few minutes ago. Oh, no. This brilliant lady was literally unscrewing the caps, popping the tops, dumping them in the grate in the floor, and then returning them.
Oh, no.
I've never seen anybody do that before.
I mean, it doesn't take much to think of that, but it's something that you really wouldn't think to do it.
Never in a million years would that have occurred to me. Ever.
Like not even if it wasn't you, even as a customer, I'm like, what are you doing?
Right?
Yeah, it's just like you just shake your head at something like the fact that she specified your product. Like it wasn't
any other company. She literally just grabbed my stuff. So I don't know if she had a vendetta against my company or what the problem was.
Oh man.
But she got through probably we'll say 3, maybe 4 12-packs before I saw her.
3 12. So it's 48 cans.
Mm-hmm.
Like the time that it takes to pour out one can is probably like what, half a minute?
Yeah, maybe 15, 30 seconds,
so
somewhere
she
in there.
Had to been like doubling it.
Double fisting.
Yeah.
Well, by the time I noticed what she was doing, I mean, I'm not an employee of the store, so it's not really,
right.
my responsibility.
But it is your loss on that.
Correct. because the store's not going to take the hit on that.
Yeah.
I will. So I went and got the manager, alerted them to what was going on.
I wonder if she even likes drinking that stuff. She probably didn't.
Probably not.
She's like, what's the least kind that I care about? Oh, this. Open up that.
Right.
Pour it out.
But just so that we are all clear, you can't do that. That is theft. That is theft.
Yeah.
And she was banned from the store.
That's like breaking something without paying for it.
Right.
If anything, you're getting money for something you're not paying for either.
Mm-hmm. Yep. She got banned from the store that day. And she was really lucky that they didn't call the cops because she was actually yelling and arguing with the manager.
Like, you know you're wrong.
Yeah, you're on camera doing this.
Yeah. Or she was claiming that she wasn't doing it?
Yeah,
or
she was claiming that it was hers, that it was hers, like she'd already paid for it.
Yeah, that's so crazy to assume, too. And you know what the thing is that, like, I forgot where I was going with that. But, like, so she was already recycling it?
Mm-hmm.
Or she was in the process of
She was
just
in the
pouring it?
process. Well, like, what she would do is she would dump out, at least what I saw when I caught her, she was dumping out cans, throwing them in the cart, and then when she had like 1 or 2 12-packs done, she'd hurry up and go over there and put them in the machine.
Shit. If nobody would have stopped her, she probably would have had the whole aisle wiped out. And then, like...
Very well could have.
That's like everything to like lose business. That's that's not only stuff not getting bought, but that's also giving money for recycling.
Exactly.
That's insane.
And now that, and not only that, that's money out of the store's pocket.
Yeah.
And then me as the salesman, when I have to send that stuff back as break, that comes back out of my paycheck too.
Yeah.
You know, so you're not just stealing from, one person.
Yeah.
Or one store or...
Yeah, that was... Imagine getting arrested for that and going to jail. Like,
God.
what are you in here? Oh, I was recycling. That lady must have really cared about, like... I can see that from a...
Like an environmentalist view.
Yeah, yeah, it's like, look at all this plastic wasted. We've got to save it.
I really hope that wasn't her logic.
I said, well, it was specifically your product, so that's so weird.
Right.
To specify that. Oh, man. I would be so mad, too.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. It's crazy how, like, crazy that Michiganders are with recycling. Because I know when I go into a lot of places, they are busy. And I know I've been into... Would you probably care that I specify the store that I was in?
No.
Was Kroger, and I went in the back, and there's only like 3 bottle machines back there, and not to mention the room's always like cramped, and I've been in there, and a guy just had a giant bag, so like the cart level is like here, like to the top of the cart, and the bag was all the way up to like here of just bottles. God. Like he followed the 1 cart rule, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, and it's just so weird because, like, I have family in Georgia, and periodically they'll come up here and visit, and if you mention taking cans back to them,
they don't do it.
They have no clue. They look at you like you are crazy.
Yeah,
because in Georgia, like, and it kills me when I go visit them in Georgia,
and they just
throw
away.
Their can away.
Oh yeah,
and if it wasn't illegal, I would totally load them all up in the back of my car and bring them home. But you can't cross state lines with cans that you didn't purchase in that state.
Really?
Yeah. People have been arrested for that.
So that's just Georgia or all states?
No, you can't take bottles or cans from a state that doesn't have deposit into a state that does.
Yeah, because you ever notice, it's funny that you said Georgia, because if you notice a lot of cans that won't have a 10-cent deposit, it'll say like, is it HI and GA or something like that? It says 5 cents or something.
I know Hawaii is one of them. I'm pretty sure that one's 5 cents.
Yeah.
Let's just take a look.
Yeah.
Oh, never mind.
I think it's on like an aluminum can.
It's on the other part that we just threw away.
Yeah.
While I have this, I'm just going to go ahead and take a drink.
Okay.
But that was the one thing that I've never seen somebody, number one, ballsy enough to do
go,
that.
yeah, oh yeah. I mean,
Then,
it's ballsy enough for one person to drink something.
right.
Yeah, because even though if I know I'm gonna buy it, I'm usually patient. I'm like, I'm
Right.
gonna wait because otherwise they're gonna think I'm stealing.
And I mean, I do see people in the stores all the time, and they're shopping and they'll grab something to drink.
Yeah,
And I think to myself, are you really going to pay? And most people do.
yeah. Like because you can't really say anything,
Right.
but you just have to like take their word for it. I actually had the opposite problem. My friend, she was telling me how she went to, I think she said she went to Walmart, and she bought a thing, I think it was a bottle of water or like a can of Arizona or something. And she said she was using it for shopping, and then when she was done, she finished it, and then she went to the cashier and she wanted to pay for it.
Mm-hmm.
And the cashier's like, "Why do you want to buy this?" And she's like, "'Cause I drank it."
Really?
And like the lady was not understanding why she wanted to pay for an empty can, and she's like, "Well, fine." And it's like, "Well, fine, let me get away with it then." But then the big thing would be is if somebody else saw it and they'd been like,
Right.
"You did not pay for it," and it's like, "Look, that dumbass cashier did not let me do it."
She wouldn't let me pay for
Yeah.
it.
Oh man. Like, sure, she didn't.
Mhm. Oh my god.
Speaking of plastics and bottles, my retail appetizer is gonna. It was just recently. That's why I want to bring it up before I might forget about it. We have. I think what happened is that somebody thought that we had dumpsters. In our receiving area, we have the doors that we let the scan-based vendors and a lot of the truck drivers in, and it's the big door by our desks. And we open that door. We always keep it locked. We let them in. And right by there, we just since I believe last summer started food donations. Normally we have regular food donations for plastic water and meat and bakery, but this one is organic donations. It doesn't go to food bank, but it goes to some eco company.
Like for composting and stuff
Yeah,
like that.
they take a lot of that organic fruits and vegetables, and I think they grind it up and they feed it to like farm animals.
Oh, okay.
And so they're in like these two blue dumpsters, and there's always a lock on it. And then basically, I think once or twice a week, a company comes in, they take the jack, they bring it over to his truck, dump it off, and then put it back.
Okay.
And I think what happened last week was that some truck driver or somebody overnight thought it was a dumpster.
Uh-oh.
And so the receiver that I work with showed me that there's two bottles over there. And they're apple juice colored plastic bottles.
Yep.
Two Aquafina bottles. And I said it could be two things before I looked at it. I was like, yes, it could be piss. But it also could be a spit bottle because she said it was dark, and
Yeah.
I was like, I've seen spit bottles where they're in like cola, like a Pepsi or a Coke bottle,
Right.
and they almost look like the pop.
Mm-hmm.
But if you gave it a second look, you see that it's like chewing. But I went there and I'm like, yes, that's definitely pee. Like I went out there, that's definitely pee, and she wanted somebody else to take care of it, and luckily, we left that for somebody after I left, and then I came back and it was taken care of. So I didn't have to take care of it. So
That's
I'm glad about that. So we let our food lines leader find somebody to take care of that. And it's like, why would you not? Like, we don't have a dumpster. We have a trash compactor.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm glad for that reason, just so people won't dump stuff.
So now I have a question about that. Just because this is something that happens to my wife all the time. She works at a large retail store.
Yeah. Yep.
And so now, are you like technically allowed to clean that up? Because it's
No, technically, our procedure, we've had to look this up, is to call the fire department.
okay.
That's technically our procedure for any unknown liquids.
Right.
Because it could be considered a bomb, or perhaps
Sure. That makes
drugs.
sense, I guess.
Yeah, perhaps like any source of drugs, like illegal drugs.
Mm-hmm.
But in that case, it was just like, it was just a common knowledge thing. It's like clearly somebody just threw piss bottles.
Now, see where my wife works. If there's anything on the floor that looks like it could be a bodily fluid,
Yeah.
any regular employee or even like a department manager,
Yeah.
they're not allowed to clean that up.
It's a is a hazmat or
Well, not even that. The like either the store manager or one of the co-managers themselves have to clean that up.
really?
Yeah. And I don't know like if they're trained
Even if it's poop?
even if it's especially if it's poop.
Man, they gotta have the best poop stories.
And I do yeah, they have a few. I'll save them though.
And yeah, that's what I have to get out because it should also not only be poop stories, but it should probably also be like blood. We've had
Right.
now. We also have to treat blood as a hazardous material too. But the thing is, we still throw it in the compactor. I put it in my hazardous bags for liquids and
Oh,
stuff.
so you seal it
with
up
the
kind of
pads.
deal.
Yeah, so that way it doesn't get any outsource.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
And because there was one time it was a grocery cart. Apparently a customer, I think they cut themselves on something but didn't realize it, and they bled on the stuff that they had on there. Yeah. So yeah, they put that back there and left it for me to take care of, and
Naturally.
and of course that resulted to our receiver and me getting pissed and having to send an email about how to treat it, and that's what started the ball on informing people about hazardous stuff. Because like I talked before, somebody will have a thing of, and this almost applies to all liquids, but especially detergent and any other chemicals, is to keep it in a bag, because when it's sitting next to food, it can leak, and I'll have to throw that away.
Right.
And when I mentioned before in the first episode, when I send things back, and what I mean by send things back, I can send it back to the department if it's good, but if it's not too good, but it's also not throwable, I actually send it back to the warehouse, because I have perishables. So sometimes if it's missing pieces, I have my banana boxes. I scan it in there. I send it on a pallet, and it goes back to one of our distribution centers.
Right.
And they decide what to do with that after that. And you said you've looked at buying stuff from our distribution centers?
Oh, yeah. Your company has, first off, your company has like a clearance store.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's like in Grand. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know exactly.
So that one's kind of cool.
Yeah.
I mean, if you check, things are obviously, when they're there, they're a little scratched or dented or whatever.
Yeah, but you get what you pay for.
Exactly. But I do a little bit of online selling on the side.
Yeah.
And I have found places, like when you package up your stuff, like electronics and stuff like that, and you send it back to your warehouse, sometimes they have more than they can handle, so they sell it out to another company or something. I can then turn around and buy pallets of that stuff.
Yeah.
To turn around and resell for a profit.
And that's a nice transition, because that is definitely for something to talk about with our show and tell.
True that.
Times that I mentioned before, I get things called NDRs, which are non-damage returns. Generally, it's something that we no longer sell. Maybe it's discontinued, or more than likely, it's a seasonal item. So once January hits, I'm usually getting NDRs of Christmas stuff. Once November hits, I'm sending Halloween candy back. I'm sending back Halloween decorations, Halloween costumes, such. And some things are just random. It's a slow selling item. Yep. Or if I don't have an aisle location for something because of a reset, I will send a remedy and from a corporate person, and they will actually create a non-damage return, so that way we don't lose money on that.
Oh, that's cool.
And we have a set window time. It's always usually 2 weeks.
Okay.
So once I'm not in that 2-week mark, we actually get charged for sending that out.
Really?
Yeah. Well, I always get charged for sending stuff back, but once it's not in that NDR window frame.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I always wondered how that worked.
I still kind of wonder it myself. But one of the things, a lot of these NDRs are clearance NDRs, and one of them was electronics. I have a game in the rack over there, but it was a baseball game. They were sending a lot of games back, and I bought that, and it's still wrapped, and it's like brand new, and I bought it for like $3, and I still haven't.
You can't beat that because that was probably what, a $50 game.
I mean, it's
like
a baseball game, so it's probably like I can at least maybe $10 with a $5 profit, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
But still, that's a foot long. I can probably buy at Subway.
True.
Yeah. True. and like we just talked about, so there's NDRs. One of them, I have a lot of scents. I have this whole box of aerosol spray scents. These ones are Christmas ones, cranberries.
You didn't show me those ones.
Oh, maybe those are like the only two that I have. It smells pretty good.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah.
I buy these a lot from them when they have the extras of these. Because believe it or not, they actually sell. But 9 times out of 10, if I like the scent, I don't sell it.
Yeah.
I keep it, and I have boxes of them at home just to use whenever.
Yeah. Yeah, and then, because I have 3 of these Glade scents, too. I didn't even have a Glade plug-in or an Airwick plug-in until it went on clearance, and I bought it. And so there's clearance, and then once that doesn't sell, it comes to me, and it's even cheaper.
Right.
Generally 90% off, and
these NDRs, just to clarify, once it comes back as an NDR, it's usually not available to the public for sale, right?
Yeah, generally.
It's up to the
merchandiser,
okay.
Like whoever employee is putting it out there.
Gotcha.
Like if it's just taking up space and they just don't want to see it anymore, they'll just bring it back to me. Sometimes they bring it back before the NDR even opens. Like they know what's coming. Like they get notified if you scan it and it'll pop up saying it's NDR starting this date, ends this date. Sometimes they're just like, here it is already. And I'm like, well, I got a couple days before I could scan that. But sometimes it sells so well, they even forget about it. And then they bring it back after it's already closed.
Right.
Yeah. And,
what else you got?
I got, this was a markdown. I think this was a customer return. And they bought it marked down, and I don't remember why they marked it down. It was a banana suit. And
and let me just say, I have seen him with it on.
Oh, yeah. I was wearing it to cheer people up when they were having a bad day. And I was like, do you need me to put on the banana suit? And it definitely makes people's day when I put this on. And I got it for like $3.50.
Oh, that's cheap.
Yeah, I can't beat that. And I think the same thing goes for this penguin suit. This penguin suit's really cheap, and I left it. I'm kind of pissed because I left it in the trunk of my car.
Uh-oh.
And I left it in there for like ever. And the hubcap I had back there kind of stained the white part a little bit. But I think I'm going to use this for a future video. But the penguin suit cracked me up dancing in this.
That one is my favorite.
Yeah. And I think I got that for about as much. I think I got that for like $1 or something. Which, it's crazy now to believe that a lot of the stuff is like originally like $30 or something.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, man. And then during the Super Bowl time. Oh, no, before I go into the Super Bowl. I bought this Jason mask and this came with a machete. Nice little plastic foam machete that I can easily crack and squeeze and break. And bend it, but I got this for like $1.80, I think it was.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, and probably use this for like a future. And it really helps when I like to make videos and want to film stuff. And actually, I have photos taken of my little horror movie rack up there that I had laying this on the shelf. And the mask over a picture frame of me with George Romero. And stuff like that. It became a nice little decor. And I bought this sword for like $1 something. This was a Halloween sword. as long as the Jason stuff that was like post Halloween time. I really don't know what I can do with this.
You'll find a use for it.
Yeah,
I guarantee it.
in a video or just like stabbing, poking, unless you want to have a sword fight. But
you see the abuse I take?
Yeah, I know, right? And then I have my. I'll get to it after the Super Bowl. I bought this blimp from the Super Bowl display. My intention is to make this a Duff blimp from The Simpsons. I was thinking about either making a logo and then getting a big red poster printed of the Duff and tape it over, or I was actually wondering if you think I could probably paint this.
You can paint it, but you're going to need a
latex
special
paint?
kind of... Yeah.
Which I have acrylic paint. You think that'll work?
Maybe. I would just try like a little spot like on the bottom of it here first.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. See how that holds.
Yeah.
Because it'll have to... Because if it deflates, it might ruin it.
Right.
So, like, see how well it applies to the plastic.
And speaking of Duff, I almost bought you something the other day. Yeah. I was in another store, and I saw a Duff can.
Oh, like a can of, like, Duff?
It was like an energy drink.
Like this?
I'm glad I didn't buy it. Yep. That's exactly
I found
what
it
I saw.
What's funny is that I found this in the Flamin' Mo at, which is, if you ever watch The Simpsons, Mo doesn't make it. Homer makes a nice cocktail, and he calls it the Flamin' Homer, and Mo takes credit for it and calls it the Flamin' Mo.
Oh.
And that had an energy drink, and there's the Duff energy drink. And I bought both of them, and I drank it. And then I went back to the same store to buy it again and not drink it, and they didn't have it. Mm-hmm. So I forgot where I had to go. I think I went to Frankenmuth to get the Duff, but I also think for the Flamin' Mo I had to go back to I think I went to like the light's kind of bright. I think I went back to like Spencer's or Hot Topic or something and found that. Or I think it was Five Below, because Five Below sells all those like.
I saw them in FYE.
Oh, so you were at like Great Lakes Crossing?
No, I was in Saginaw.
Saginaw's got an FYE, dude. I hardly see any FYE. They closed the one in the Genesee Valley, and that kind of like had ever since they closed it. I have not been to the mall as often.
Honestly.
And we've talked about that too.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's like it's like nothing but clothes stores, so it's not really much for a reason for regular guys to go to.
Nope. Cassie went and did a little bit of shopping in stores I don't choose to go into.
Yeah.
I.e. Victoria's Secret, because I think it's just creepy when guys are walking around Victoria's Secret.
Yeah. See, I have no shame.
Yeah.
But I still think it's weird.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's weird. I don't necessarily feel comfortable, but I don't feel uncomfortable walking in there.
See, I think it's more of a me thing.
Yeah.
Because I'm the one that feels uncomfortable.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody else really cares.
Yeah.
But instead, I roamed around, and FYE was one of the only stores
that you would, and it was right next door.
Exactly.
To Victoria. Yeah. Yeah, there was that, and then I go to Spencer's, I see like the same thing. I go to Hot Topic, I feel like I see the same thing there.
But that was the first time I've been in a mall in
like
a couple years at least.
Yeah. And then not to mention, should I move the camera? Jeremy, do you want to move the camera for me? Because I was thinking about it, and I'm like, I don't want to move the microphone. It's not mobile.
True.
Right here, Jeremy mentioned it, is the and you can see it on the TV too. Is the DVD rack that I had. Up there is the shelf that I was talking about, but of course the window's bright. But here's the DVD rack that we have. Normally you see these at like stores like Walmart, Meijer. I don't think Kroger has one. Best Buy has stuff like this. And I bought this from my job because they were getting ready to toss these out. And I was like, you know what? I almost took two. Could you imagine another one next to this? I could expand it. When I fill this up, I can definitely condense the Simpsons seasons. Right. But I like the display of seeing 1 through 20. Yep. But when it comes to these being too thick, I'm gonna be like, damn.
Well, yeah, because then when they're hard to see what's behind there, you have to actually.
That's the only downfall I don't like to this is having to dig through the back and be like, well, where's that movie? So I gotta keep it organized with TV shows, Blu-rays, regular DVDs, horror DVDs, and then I got a couple VHS tapes.
Right.
All right. Yeah, you can move that back. Yes, and then I got two. Yeah, you can point it that way because I forgot about that. Right there is the red. It was from a Coca-Cola display, where I have the games. Actually, if you want, I can wheel this over. As I knock everything over. Yeah. As I knock everything over. Yes. What was originally here was the shape of a big Coke bottle. And there was a cardboard on top to make it look like the top of a bottle. And then I just used it as a game display. I was thinking, man, that's not going to last very long as furniture. But then I thought, it held up a bunch of 1-liter bottles. And then and on top of it, I have my controllers, and it's a pretty cool thing. And then the Pepsi rug I had from the... It's really dirty. I should have vacuumed it. I put it away. I literally just stopped using it because I got a new rug, and then I replaced it. It was a lot bigger one.
Right.
And we got it from the Super Bowl display that we had at the store in the center aisle. And it was a little neat. And I think I paid $1 for that. But yeah, other than that, that's all the cool, neat little stuff. The benefits of working in retail. At least that I've accumulated over time. And Jeremy, I understand that thank you, by the way, for...
You're welcome.
Moving all that stuff. And the games, that little thing, it's so convenient that it's on wheels. I don't have to worry about putting a bookshelf down here.
Right.
And worry about them getting knocked over.
It really is convenient. You can just kind of bring it out, turn it around.
Yeah. And, I have, the Wii games there, and I'm just like, well, where's the PlayStation 3 games? And, and I'm moving the chairs all the time, playing musical chairs.
Right.
And if I ever decided to reorganize the room, I can always move that around without having to undo all the games.
That can sit pretty much anywhere.
Yeah. And then, so I understand that you've also accumulated a lot of stuff.
Oh, yeah. Well, I wanted to bring a lot of stuff to show you guys.
Yeah.
But a lot of the stuff that I have is branded to the company that I work for.
Oh,
Didn't want to give that away.
Right.
But what I can say is I was at a store a couple years ago, and they had a massive, Santa sleigh.
Oh,
and
shit.
It's heavy. It's heavy metal.
Heavy metal.
Heavy metal. And Christmas is just my favorite holiday ever.
Yeah.
So I just saw it sitting in the back room one day, and I'm like, what are you going to do with that?
Yeah.
Well, we're going to toss it. I'm like, no.
Yeah.
I will buy that. So I did, and it comes apart and all this and that. But this thing is huge.
Right.
I mean, I can sit in it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So, every year for Christmas, I usually try to get it out, and I've been setting it on the porch.
Yeah.
I want to put it up on the roof and get a real Santa and put all that up there.
Get a real old person.
Yeah, a real old person.
Yeah.
I mean, Oh, man. But I mean, like, I have a lot of.
I'm sorry, but
You're okay.
realistically, if you came home and you're like, "Hey Santa, hey Jeremy, hey, I was working, not too bad,
Do you
going
know
in the
how
house."
awesome that would be to
Yeah.
be able to talk to Santa every day when you come home?
Some old. My chances, the only person you could afford to want to stay up there is some drunk like hobo.
Right. Just toss him a beer every night when you come home and call it good.
Toss a beer and cookies for Santa.
um, but you know, through my job, I get a lot of pretty cool things. Like I have a couple drink coolers that I've won in different contests. And not like just regular cooler, you know, like the ones you see in stores that plug in and
Yeah.
they're awesome for like summer picnics and whatnot.
I know my aunt. She bought it. She got it from her neighbor, but her neighbor had it from somebody else, and it was Labatt's little. It was a table cooler.
Oh,
You know what I'm talking about? It's like a big white cooler, and then it's like a table, and you pop it open in the cooler, and it's all around, and it has an umbrella stand that goes through the middle.
Ooh, that's
so you
cool.
can put an umbrella in the middle, and the table pops up and down
right
with the cooler where you can get your drinks and everything like that. And like I said, it's Labatt's, so at the top of it was Labatt's. And I think we had something like that on display. It's always the beer companies that have the coolest stuff.
They do.
Yeah.
They I mean, sometimes we get pretty cool stuff, but they tend to ship that out to like larger city areas.
Yeah.
Um,
Like the coolest beer thing I think I saw was the Bud Light can as the pallet stove or the wood burner.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, that was cool as shit.
It was
like
really cool.
It was or was it a grill? I don't know what it was. It was like a fireplace, I think.
I think it was a fireplace.
It was a big blue metal can, like that was like this tall, the shape of like a Bud Light can.
Yep.
And it had the open, and there was a grill of like where you put your wood and stuff at to grill it. And it was awesome. I don't remember who won that because we always have the raffles at our work. Whenever they take the displays down, we go in the break room. They show what they're what's on raffle, and you write your name and info down. I haven't won a single thing yet.
And neither have I. Like we do a lot of raffles, like for our employees at the plant, and a lot of times, like we give away tickets to like an MLB team, or a large football, you know, NFL team.
Yeah,
we give those away a lot to our employees.
Like, on an average, how often?
Like once a quarter.
Okay.
Like 10 people will get tickets, and they always do it randomly.
Yeah.
So, like, you know, you go in, and they never tell you when they're going to do it. So just go in and you pick a seat. They always tape them to the underside of the seat.
Oh.
Or they'll put, like, a number underneath a cup. You know, not once in 5 years have I ever won the tickets.
Oh, man.
So to my boss...
10 people?
10 people every quarter. That's a lot of quarters.
That's a lot,
in the last 5 years.
Yeah.
So to my boss, if you're listening, I want tickets.
Yeah. Is anybody that work for your company that I know have won?
Yeah, Joe. Big Joe, he was there on Friday doing my reset.
Oh, yeah.
He's won tickets.
Any of the drivers?
I don't know because they're not part of our meetings.
Oh.
They're a different part of the company.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. There was a couple things that I've also got that I don't have with me present. One of them was my freezer chest, and I was using that for YouTube videos. Because I heard it sucks up a lot of energy. It was like a big white freezer chest that we were using for Ready Whip, and it worked. And there was, I think the rep didn't want to use it anymore.
Yeah, I don't think there was anything wrong with it.
Yeah, and they were getting ready to scrap it. Well, they know people usually buy them.
Right.
They just didn't know who, so it sat for the longest time. And the glass slider worked. And like I said, you plug it in, it turns on, it works. but I wasn't going to use it for a freezer. I used it for my game consoles as a storage space. And then eventually I used it for, excuse me, I was using it for YouTube videos. When I would talk about a game or a movie, I'd put it in the chest, and when I talk about it, I used it as a table and like talking like it was a desk, and then I would open it and pull the thing out. And I thought it was really creative.
That is cool.
And I would, because it's just funny to pull it out of my ass or have it be like this top hat of like what's going to be in the box today. And but once we moved here, I didn't really feel like I needed it anymore.
I wondered what you ever did with it.
And in the space down here, you could tell I don't really have it. And I bought a cooler, a chiller for drinks and stuff from that's like way nicer. It's like a little mini fridge, like glass door. It's super nice, and I like that way better than having a top down where you have to kind of pile everything.
Mm-hmm.
And
I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little jealous of this one.
Yeah, and I was shocked when I bought that too.
For the price you got it for?
Yeah, $15.
You can't
for
beat it.
you said a $200 almost.
Two, if not $300 cooler.
Yeah, and I'm like
chiller or whatever you want to call it. It's basically it just reminds me of like a wine cooler.
Yeah, like you go into like a hotel, and like they always have. Well, even hotels that you go to, they don't have the glass door.
No,
it's always like the normal,
like
shorter
normal
looking
mini fridge type deal.
Yeah, it's never. And then because now it doesn't have the drawer, like the door.
Yeah.
Cupboard, but it almost makes up for it because it just.
I don't think
with
you
the
need
blue
it the way
light
you have
that
it.
shows. Yeah. And but there's that freezer, and I gave it away to my great uncle. He was looking at it. He went to our old house and saw it, and he was like, "What are you doing with that?" And I'm like, "I don't know." I was like, "I'll probably," because I planned on selling it.
Right.
I was like, "I could probably sell it for at least a couple bucks, a good."
You probably could have got $75.
Yeah, like a good profit off it. And then he asked for it. He's an older guy, and I was like, you know what, Melvin, you can just take it.
Right.
And he was like, he looked at me like, really? And
people don't usually give up those kind of things so easily.
Yeah, I know. Well, then if it wasn't for having to get rid of it, I guess. But
see, I'm in that boat myself right now because I get so much stuff from work. That my wife doesn't want me to bring any more home.
Yeah, that's how I am too. Like there's like the receiver that I work with, she always finds creative ways. Like she's like a salesperson.
She is. She really
tries
good
to
at
talk you into like buying stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And like I'm like, no, I didn't need. The other day was milk crates. We had spare milk crates from Country Fresh.
Oh yeah.
And I'm like, oh, I don't need any. I was like, because if you look, I got Dean Foods right there. I got 3 that I'm using right now, and then one that I'm barely even using.
Yep.
That empty space can go into. I'm like, I didn't need another one. I mean, I don't.
Do they still have those?
No. Darn. I don't know what happened to. I don't remember where they came from. I think they were using it for something. Oh, I think pharmacy was using them for their files.
Oh.
And they no longer needed it, so they zip tied them all together, threw them on a pallet.
Yep.
And we're like, why don't you take these? And he's like, those aren't ours. So I forgot whose they were, and so they were just like, well, are we gonna toss these? And we ended up selling all of them. But you can buy those at like Sam's Club. And those are specifically for records because they're slightly wider. Right. See, if I use that Dean Foods one, it's too small for records.
Yep.
And but yeah, she talked me into buying this big table thing, and I found out it was too big, and now I'm stuck with it. We ended up buying an actual table, and it was this cool thing that goes. How do I explain it? In the fashion area, they have the metal rack for hats, and it spins around.
Yep.
And what it is the metal doesn't spin, but it's on this big wooden thing that spins. There's a bottom part to the wood that has the wheels, and there's an even bigger. It looks like a giant block of cheese.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what sits on the wheels. And I was thinking about putting 2 massive, like, thick dowels to rise it up and it would be like a cool table with an underneath part.
Right.
And
it's kind of funny because
you were thinking the
I
same
was
thing.
thinking about buying it when
Yeah.
she had said that you were going to get it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, darn, he beat me to it. But we've since bought a new coffee table too.
Yeah.
And I would get murdered if I brought it home.
And you see what our coffee table looks like. It looks exactly almost what that was going to be.
Mm-hmm.
And when I first saw it, before we had the couches in, I'm like, that's too small. And then we put the couches in, I'm like, that's just right.
Exactly.
And then I realized how big that is, and I was like, no. And I even thought, well, what about the basement? Even down here, this coffee table was just a good thing I kept this. I almost threw this out.
Yeah, no kidding.
This was found underneath over there. It was just dirty as hell. So I cleaned it. I'm thinking about power sanding it and like restaining it.
Mm-hmm. That'd be easy enough to do.
Yeah, just got the couple edges roughed off, and I put it down. Dude, it's wider than you think it is. It'd be from here to over there. It may work for that width, but not this width.
No,
like,
yeah. You'd have to inch around it if you could get around it.
Yeah, so now I'm stuck with it. So it's not
Nice.
always a blessing for all this stuff.
Yeah, we do come home with a lot of things that we really don't need.
Guess what I got back? Oh, the other thing is that giant skull right there.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that.
I got that. That skull was like $70, $80, $90, something like that for
Just an
Halloween
obscene
time.
amount.
And all it does is the lights turn on in the eyes. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
It got marked down. What it was, somebody sent it back to me without a UPC, and I don't remember what was wrong with it. I think it was just missing a UPC. Now, if I would have told our store director we sent this out because it didn't have a tag or something on it, and we just lost like $60,
Mm-hmm.
I'd be like,
That would
really?
not go well.
So I gave it back to the department to mark it down. They put a markdown sticker on it, marked it down to 90%. So it ultimately was like $2.
Wow.
But the thing was, nobody bought it because they put the tag underneath the skull. And who's gonna think to look underneath that? I don't think they could have had a shelf tag for it because they might put stuff on end caps. That's where I found the rug.
Right.
It was on an end cap. But I don't think they did it, so nobody bought it. So when they gave it back to me, when it was actually time for the NDR, I looked at the bottom of it and saw the $2 tag. I'm like, are you shitting me? I'm
nope,
like, I'm
this
definitely
is
buying
mine.
this now. Somebody was like, was that already back here? And I was like, yeah, I didn't have a barcode. I gave it back to him. But and I had a plastic pumpkin bowl
Yep.
that was full of candy. Post Halloween, it was like, I don't remember how much that was. I think it was like $3-4 versus $20, $30 for a giant bag of candy for Halloween. And last thing is the Christmas tree.
I forgot about that.
I bought it in February. We had a white tree, pre-lit white tree, and Lisa was talking about not liking a white tree as much. So luckily, February came around. They brought back They brought back one Christmas tree. It was a 6-footer pre-lit green tree for $9.
Oh my God.
$9. It saved me time we're having to work it by buying it, and saved me money from having
Right.
So
You cannot be. See, I'm not a big fan of the white trees either.
yeah, and we had to rebuy decorations last year because, we only had blue.
That's the other thing. Cassie gets not mad at me. I'm a firm believer in not repeating a tree twice.
Oh, so you want to change the look of it next year?
I have to change it every year.
I could see that.
So now we have to trade off because she has ornaments that she likes to put on the tree every single year.
Oh.
So one year she gets to do the tree however she wants.
You got to do your annual ones, like your birth year.
No.
Ornaments.
No. I don't put those on when it's my year.
What?
I don't. If they don't match the theme of the tree that I'm trying to go for, they don't go on the tree.
What's the purpose of having it, though?
I can still look at.
I
have these.
See, you need 2 different ones in your house. That'll solve the problem.
You're right.
The annual tree, and then your tree.
Right. What we've done to temporarily solve the problem is we have these little there's a base, and then it comes up, and it's got like 4 prongs on it.
Yeah.
And you can hang a bulb or an ornament from each one.
Yeah.
So our really special ones that we don't want the dogs to knock off the tree or something.
Yeah.
That's where we hang those.
Okay. Yeah, I can see that. Surprisingly, none of the cats knocked over our tree. Our one
lucky.
cat, Emma, is notorious for eating parts of it, and we had an older cat back when I was younger climbed the tree, knocked it entirely over, and but when we had Edward, we were skeptical, and actually he didn't do anything with this. We were very shocked and lucky. Hearts go out to the family with cats and dogs that are very destructive when it comes to Christmas trees.
Clover's like that. She likes to eat the bulbs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, when it comes to other displays, can you think of any more that? Because I know when it comes to Christmas time, we talked about the furnace. There's usually, I know Stella Artois had the. They had like the weird cardboard cut. They usually have like cardboard cutout displays that like nobody really wants.
Yeah.
Oh, wasn't there the Super Bowl? The cardboard cutout of like the football guy.
Oh yeah, I did bring that in. It was one of the NFL quarterbacks. I usually get all kinds of cutouts, and then I know which one you're talking about. You're talking about the one you put on.
Yeah, I put a. Do you still have that picture?
I do. I do. I can send it to you.
Send that to me, and I'll post that.
What they are, they're cardboard pieces that I have to like fold and put together, and then when they're assembled, they make a quarterback that looks like he's throwing the ball.
Yeah.
And then there's a receiver that looks like he's going to catch the ball.
Mm-hmm. And then I put there was the cardboard cutout of the helmet, and I put that on, and I think somebody from grocery took the one of this year.
I think Jacob got it.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it was Jacob.
That was funny because I saw it in the grocery bag room. That cracked me up.
Mm-hmm.
And then you told me that you had a real helmet.
I do. I won a contest for one of the displays that I built, and my company rewarded me with a. It's a football helmet, a real nice football helmet with my company's brand, and they put it in a nice glass case, and so that just kind of sits at home in the closet because I don't have anywhere to display it at the moment.
Yeah, it's like having cool stuff, and it's just like, don't know what to do with it.
Yep. Got to get me a little man cave going.
Yeah.
Get all that stuff in there.
And anything else that you might have gotten that we haven't gone over? Stuff that you got?
I don't think so. I think we covered everything I was going to say.
Okay.
Yeah.
So now we're going to move on to another retail. This one involves my mom. Jeremy's very excited to talk about this one. His face lit up when I brought it up because he forgot about it.
Yep. And I just love when somebody reminds me of it because it was probably one of the funniest days I think I've ever had at work.
She tried to explain it to me, and I didn't really understand. I don't think I still understand. Like, it's not just what happened, it's why she chose to do it that made it hard to explain.
Mm-hmm.
And this shows you when I do stupid stuff, this explains where I get it from.
Yeah, I could see that. All right. So I was in the soda aisle, and I had never met Austin's mom before.
Yeah, and she's the reason why I started working at the company I'm working at.
Mm-hmm.
I was originally working at one around the Pontiac area, and this because she started at the location we both work at now. She started there working cheese wall. She got transferred for management position at the one near Pontiac. I needed a job. She had me truck unload at the one. She didn't hire me, but she told me about how they needed truck unloaders at the Pontiac location. I started working there. I needed to work closer to home, so I got transferred.
Mm-hmm.
And then she didn't like it down there, so she got transferred to the same store. So she went back to the one that started. Yeah. And So she came, and then she switched over to grocery, coming back to the store. And that's why she was in that aisle.
Correct.
Because she's a grocery manager.
Yep. So, like I said, I was in the soda aisle, and I had seen his mom earlier that day. Still hadn't, introduced myself yet. And I saw her in the next aisle over.
Yeah.
She was pushing, along a ladder cart and doing her thing. And
which, next to the pop aisle is the water, juice, tea.
Like all
aisle.
your non-carb
kind of
aisle.
Like the tomato juice.
Mm-hmm. So I'm just doing my thing. I'm writing an order for that store. And then all of a sudden I hear a pop. And I'm like, what was... And then not just a split second later, I hear his mom just yell.
Oh my God.
Ow!
And she's very loud. She's a very loud person.
Like, yo. And so at first I'm, thinking in my head, all right, maybe she dropped something.
Yeah.
But then she kept yelling. I'm like, oh man, I gotta go see what happened to her. So as I round the corner, it just looked like the only way to describe it is that something liquid blew up with force.
Did it sound like something was leaking too?
Not so much leaking, because with the force that this thing exploded with, there was no liquid left in it.
Oh,
so
man.
To explain what this was, his mom had picked up an apple juice container, and it must have had at one point in time a leak in the seal.
Yeah.
Because it had fermented.
Yeah.
And puffed the bottle out, so it was under just extreme pressure.
Yeah.
So she set it on her cart, and it kept falling over because the bottom of it
it was rounded. Yeah. The thing is like,
and
from what I remember when she told me, she said, because I thought, remembering it, now that you mention it, I thought she dropped it and it caused it to shake like so. But the fact that she kept dropping it and picking it up, and then would keep it.
Oh yeah, so every time she drops it, it's shaking it up.
Yeah.
And it's fermented, so there's carbonation in there.
Yeah. And then she told me, like, she's like, well, maybe I should relieve a little bit of the pressure.
Yep.
Is what she said.
That was mistake number 2.
Yeah.
So she did. From what she told me, she unscrewed the cap just a little bit to try to let some pressure out.
Yeah.
And as she did that, when you're holding it, you're holding it like this, so the cap is pointed towards her.
Why you wouldn't open it away?
Apparently, she wasn't thinking about that.
Because I do that thing where every now and then when the water bottle's empty, you close the cap and you twist it and twist it and twist it until it's like, it's twisted by its side, and then you slowly release the cap, and it goes.
Yes. Yup. Apparently, your mom's never done that before.
Yeah.
So as she's releasing some pressure from this cap, the cap just blew off and smacked her dead in the forehead. And this is, of course, when she starts yelling.
Yeah.
And I walk around the aisle, and all I can see is your mom, and she's holding her head, like her forehead, like this. And she is fucking drenched from head to toe in fermented apple juice.
Great introduction.
So, she's clutching her forehead like this. I'm like, oh my God, what happened to her?
Yeah.
And normally my first instinct is to laugh at people when they get hurt.
I know.
But I didn't know how bad she was hurt.
The bottle cap shot across the aisle.
It did.
Too.
It did.
Imagine if it was a customer. She nailed a customer in the back of the head. And it did like a shuffleboard across the aisle. But imagine if she wasn't pointing at her head, but pointed at another customer,
right?
Or shot somebody in the back of the ass with it.
I mean,
it makes me want to do that now. It
I
makes
know,
me want
right?
to bash a thing of apple. It was apple juice, right?
Yeah,
The
just apple
I keep
juice.
thinking apple sauce.
No,
but because we do have like the the bottles of applesauce
Right.
that are like this big that you pour. But
No. Finally, your mom, she let go of her forehead, and right here is a fucking indent. You
it
could
has the
see.
expiration date like bouncing on her head. It says EXP 3 22 18 19.
And as she released it, and I could see, I have never seen a more defeated look on anyone. I don't think.
Well, yeah, you're filled with fucking piss looking. I wonder if that was what was in those Aquafina bottles. Was that the Revenge? Now imagine if I did that with the piss bottles and it just shot me in the head and piss everywhere.
I mean, your mom, she had to go home and take a shower because she was literally.
Well, yeah, that shit's all sticky.
Not just like it sprayed her, so like no, she was soaked.
Yeah. And that shit, like I said, that shit is sticky. Juice will get sticky, especially if it was pop.
Right.
And, that actually, oh my God, not to get off tangent, but that actually happened to somebody in Surview.
Mm-hmm.
I think it happened to William. And Andrew came by and told me, he's like, he had to go home for a minute to change of clothes because a bottle exploded. I think it was a similar thing. Or it just, or either he picked something up and it just went all over him and he had to change. I've had pants torn. I got new pants at work. And the funny part about I think the funniest part about that story is when you met my sister, because she was actually on the phone with my mom while that happened.
Oh,
and she's like,
right.
I gotta let you go, and then hung up. And then you're like, I am the guy. And then when you met my sister, you're like, I am the guy that witnessed your mom nailed in the head.
I forgot about that.
Yeah.
And see, I mean, I've had something like that happen to me.
Oh, that gave me a headache laughing at that.
When I first started a few years ago, I was trying to open up a pallet, and they're shrink wrapped.
Yeah.
So I just had a regular box cutter knife, and I just went. Boop,
oh man.
And I
you
cut
didn't
into.
think about where it was?
Not really. So I cut into it, and I cut into a 2-liter of orange soda.
Oh yeah.
And it sprayed me right in the eyes.
Oh.
Nothing burns worse than orange soda.
I love how hurt you said it when you said that. Nothing burns more than orange soda. But I can imagine the force because it was in the middle of the pallet. Or was it on the top of the pallet?
It was on the top.
Oh, okay. Because I was thinking if it was in the middle, not only you have that compression in the bottle, you have that weight forcing down on it, too.
But it had just come off the truck. Like, it had just gotten delivered. So, I mean, it is, moving and shaking in the back of the truck. So, it's under a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
But,
you're just like, Dusty, spin me.
Bathe me in the orange.
You were like, what is it? Was it Keel from Keenan and Kel? Or your Kel from Keenan and Kel?
Oh,
that
I
was crazy about orange.
Yeah.
That was crazy about orange soda. It's like, I need it. Welcome to Cubba.
I need to watch that. I haven't seen that in years.
Oh, man. That was the one thing I remember from that. That's such a funny story. And then, from my understanding, you also had a poop story.
I do.
It's always enjoying to have a poop story.
I'm going to keep this one a little more intentionally vague than normal.
Okay.
Just because I know the guy. I like the guy.
Yeah.
So, a buddy of mine works for the same company.
Mm-hmm.
He has a different store than me. He called me the other day, and we were talking, and we were talking about this employee at that store who just got suspended for a few days.
Ooh.
Because called in too many times.
Oh, yeah. That'll happen.
So, and like, I shouldn't say this is like a super, like a funny poop story.
Okay. It's a very embarrassing poop story.
Kinda.
Yeah.
But, so this guy, he's a bigger guy, and, I guess for the third time in, like, the last year, he has gotten to work, like, been in the parking lot in his car called his manager and had to tell him, "Hey, I shit myself. I have to go home." And then doesn't come back.
Wait, hold on. Hold on. He shows up to work.
Yep.
Says, I shit myself. I have to come back. And then did it 3 times?
He's done it 3 times.
3 fucking times?
And
does
like,
he have IBS?
I don't know. I don't know. But what I find is even more funny is that store manager, on like the 3rd time, I don't think he believed him anymore.
Oh, without a fucking doubt. I would have believed him the first time, maybe.
So he went out to the guy's vehicle to like make sure.
Oh, yeah, are you okay? Yeah, right.
And he's like, "Oh, yup, you shit yourself."
Oh my god! Why? Work is not worth it. No job is that horrible where I prefer shit pants over.
Right. And number one, okay, if I shit myself,
it's the end of the world.
I'm not going to tell you.
Yeah,
and I'm not going to tell anybody else.
I'm going to say I have a personal thing. I'm going to be vague about it.
I'm going to get in my truck, call my boss, and be like, "Hey, I'm going home." And that's end of story. Like, nobody needs to know.
Yeah, I have a... Well, like we just said, my mom just had apple juice. That's all you got to say. You know, I have a mess. I have to change the clothes.
Right.
Because, you know, once you shit yourself, you do not feel comfortable.
Oh, no.
You know, I remember very vaguely as a kid. I never shit myself. Well, yeah, I did as a kid. But it was so horrible that I remember it. I was probably... I don't think I was in school yet. So I was probably 4 or 3. And... my mom's boyfriend or husband at the time was watching me, and he told me, I don't remember what it was. I was messing up, and I thought it was a fart, and I felt a complete turd in my pants.
Oh no!
Yeah. So it happens when you're old, but it also happens when you're young.
Yes.
And I was potty trained, so I wasn't wearing a diaper.
Mm-hmm.
So I remember the feeling of what that was like. And I didn't know what to do. Because my instinct was, I'm going to get in trouble.
Right.
And, which, looking now, it's like a parent would be more understanding than be like, oh, that's embarrassing. Let me help you.
Sure.
I was like, oh my God, my mom does my laundry. I'm going to get in trouble. And... So my mom's husband at the time was like, sit down. And I'm like, no. And then, of course, being a kid, he thinks I'm acting up. He's like, sit down. He's like, no, you need to sit down. I'm like, no. And he's just like getting pissed. He's like, sit down. I'm like, okay. It was a wooden chair.
Oh, no.
I sat.
That's even worse.
And it was horrible. I remember the feeling, and it squished. And the feeling won't go away. And that memory was so bad that I repressed everything that happened afterward. I don't even remember what happened. I don't remember if he found out. I don't remember if my mom found out. I don't remember if I threw it away. I don't remember if she had to clean it. I don't remember anything after sitting down.
That's
feeling
nuts.
that. Yeah. It's a very vague memory because I remember being like, oh, I had a fart. Oh. So, shitting yourself sitting down has to be the worst.
Oh, I would imagine.
Yeah. So, like...
Because you don't have any control
feeling
of the
that,
squish
you're
at
like,
that
I have
point.
to take not only my underwear out, but my pants. And basically just, like, throw them away. Like, I basically at the point where I'm like, throw them away. They're
and
not
I've
worth
seen
cleaning.
that, like, at the gas station before. I've seen where I walk in to clean the bathroom.
Yeah.
And people have just literally thrown their pants and underwear away.
Oh, my God. You know, truck stop stories are never the best. They're always going to be the worst of the worst, generally.
Yep. Usually.
If there was customer returns at a truck stop, it'd be definitely the worst of the worst. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, having to say, yeah, I pooped myself. I'm going home. That is hilarious. Like I'm just imagining telling my boss that.
That would be the most embarrassing thing ever as an adult.
Yeah. So there's got to be something.
I'm sure it happens.
Yeah. Oh yeah, without a doubt.
But.
And I'm not trying to diss I mean, if you have a health condition, I'm not trying to like discourage.
No, not at all.
If anything, I feel empathy, for you. Like I said, I repressed that poop memory.
All I'm saying is, I wouldn't be telling everyone.
Exactly.
I
that's
wouldn't
a personal
feel like to
issue.
go
Unless the workplace is that serious about call-ins.
Right.
Yeah. But it'd just be like, I'm coming back later.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not gonna be off of work for the day. Maybe
Right.
the first time it happened as an emotional remorse. But
normally you would just go home, get cleaned up, changed, and come back.
Exactly. Or in your case, just throw the goddamn stuff in the bathroom. Call it good.
Yep. Let somebody else clean it up.
All right, and then I believe we have a PSA for today.
You bet we do. So, this PSA is called, "For fuck's sake, don't walk in front of a fully loaded cart
Hell no."
as someone is pushing it down an aisle." So today, this happened to me just today.
Just today.
I'm still a little riled up about it.
Oh, I can tell. A little flustered.
Yep.
What was the thing from The Office that Jim says he is, and then he's like, "You know how I feel about that word, Pam? Isn't it? Isn't it flustered or something like that?"
I don't think it was flustered.
I'm a little. It was when she was pregnant, and then he's like, you can tell I'm a little. Anyway,
we're gonna have to figure that one out. We'll look that up.
That's hilarious.
So, I'm in this store, and I come out of the back room with a fully loaded cart.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a heavy cart.
Yeah.
Full of water and 24 packs. So, I'm pushing along, and I can't go very fast because the cart's heavy. I can't push it that fast.
Yeah, and not to mention, what you're going, you can't just stop it.
No,
especially when you got pallets too. When you're pulling pallets
Yes.
at 20,
Pallets are even worse.
Yeah.
If you see somebody pulling a pallet, watch out for them.
Yeah.
They don't stop on a dime. And
especially water pallets.
Yes.
When I would pull water pallets out, I'm like, I'm running some motherfuckers over today. I'm not stopping.
I can't tell you how many times I've had to stop a pallet. And the only way to really stop a pallet in a hurry, you either, number one, you have to turn around and put all your weight
on it. Yeah.
onto it to try to stop it.
Yeah.
Or I've had to a few times stick the back of my heel underneath the wheel.
Yeah.
And that hurts so bad.
Yeah. And I hate it when people, they kind of know you're there.
Yeah.
And they just don't get out of the way.
Yep. Well, so, like I said, I'm pushing this cart out, and I make sure that I'm on the side of the aisle. Like, it's a separated aisle.
Yeah.
There's product pallets. I'm on this side. This is the side that most people don't walk down.
Right.
So I always go out this side to try to avoid as much traffic as possible. This lady, she just comes out of nowhere and comes right in front of my cart. And I had to hurry up and turn the cart this way to avoid hitting her.
Yeah.
Because if I hit her,
that's
on
gonna be
me.
worse. Yeah. It's like her reaction is not going to be what you think it's going to be.
No. So as I'm doing this, just in slow motion, I see it. The water just starts to slowly tip. And as the water is tipping, the rest of the cart does too. The cart actually, the whole cart tipped over.
Yeah. Did it tip on her?
No, she made it out of the way just in time.
This was in the aisle, right? Yeah.
Yeah. This was in like center aisle.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I have product everywhere on the floor. Broken packages, cans going this way, bottles of water going that way. And she looks back at me and she just smiles. And it was everything I could do in that minute
to not say anything.
Just to bite my tongue. Like, okay.
I would have said, like, thanks, lady.
Right?
I would have said something sarcastic.
I wanted to.
Yeah.
I really did, but it would not have come out very good.
Oh, yeah.
Number one,
I probably would have said it so nicely too,
right?
So where like somebody else would have not have caught it.
Yep.
Yeah.
See, the thing, not only did the cart tip over, caused me probably another 20 minutes
to pick
of trying to pick all that stuff up and repackage anything I could. So it cost me time. It cost me money because I had, I don't know how many cases that were just so damaged I couldn't repair them.
Yeah.
And she almost got herself hurt.
Oh, yeah.
So I beg you, people. I beg you.
Beg you, Jimmy. Here, take the sword.
Take the sword. Yeah, I look better. Yeah. More serious now.
Beg you. We got a mob of plastic swords.
That's right.
Workers.
If you see somebody pulling a pallet on the sales floor, be mindful of where they're at.
Yes.
If you can help it, do not walk out in front of them because they don't stop very easy, and they don't want to hit you, and they don't want to hurt themselves.
Oh yeah,
trying
along
to stop
with
the
you.
pallet.
Yeah.
Not only that, I've seen pallets tip over that way too. If you see somebody pushing a cart, get out of the way.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, you can't buy the stuff if we aren't able to put it on the shelf.
And most generally, I'm trying to let the customers through.
Me too.
Yeah.
Me too.
So you're going to get through. You're going to get through.
Exactly. Like I said, I was on the other side of the aisle. I go out of my way to avoid traffic.
Yeah.
So that's my PSA and my rant for the day. Just please be careful because I don't want to hurt you and I don't want to get hurt myself and I don't want a lot of damaged product.
No, Jimmy.
No, Jimmy.
All right. So I think that wraps up today's episode pretty well.
I agree.
It was really fun showing all the cool props and all the cool stuff. And this is us signing out of the Retail Pit.